What's up, guys? How are you doing today? It's Aziz, and welcome to this next part of the EC2 tutorial where we're going to be looking at the hands-on section. So without further ado, let's begin. Today, basically, we are going to be looking at how to work with AWS EC2, right? So first, we are going to just begin by creating an EC2 instance. We're going to walk through the whole workflow of how to create an EC2 instance. So currently I'm in my AWS account. So the next thing I want to do to navigate to the EC2 service is to go up to the search bar, and then we can just search for EC2. So I'm going to open EC2, and then we're going to go down to instances. So to create an EC2 instance, you just need to go up to launch instances. And then what you need to do is to provide the name of your instance. So we can just call this our instance. I can call it demo. So next you want to go down, and like we said in the previous lecture, the most important things, first you need to select your AMI, your Amazon Machine Image, which is the operating system that you want to create the virtual machine from. So for us, we are going to use an Ubuntu AMI, and then you have different versions of a particular AMI, right? It's just like an operating system. For example, you can have Windows 11, you have Windows 10, and so on. So Ubuntu also has different versions. So for us, we are going to go with the default, which is the Ubuntu Server 2404. So that is okay. And then we scroll down. So next, what you have is the instance type, right? Like we said, after you choose your AMI, the next thing is what instance type do you want to use? And there are different instance type, and you choose based on exactly the type of workload that you're going to be running. And for us, since we're just doing a demo, we can stick to the T2 micro. The good thing also is that you also have what we call the free tier eligible instances, where AWS is going to give you a particular number of hours where you can be able to use a particular virtual machine for free, right? So we are going to stick to the T2 micro, which has 1 vCPU and 1 gigabytes in memory. So we're using the T2 micro. The next thing that you need now to do is your key pair. Because remember, after you have created your virtual machine, how are you going to be able to connect to your virtual machine? So you need the private key and the public key. So if you don't have a key pair, you can just go ahead and click on create new key pair. When you click on create new key pair, automatically you provide the name of the key pair. I want to call it demo1. And then you click on create key pair. When you click on create key pair, automatically the private key is going to be downloaded into your laptop, and then the public key is going to be stored in the virtual machine. Then afterwards, now we'll be able to use this private key to be able to connect to our virtual machine. So the next thing you want to do is to go down. For the network settings, we are going to keep them as default, which means that we are going to create our EC2 instance in the default network configuration, the default VPC, and all the various default configurations. And then what you want to do is to scroll down. Now the next thing you want to pick is your storage configurations, which is your EBS volume. So for the EBS volume configuration, we are going to keep it as default, which is the 8 gigabytes of storage. And then you just need to go ahead and click on launch instance. So it's going to take some few seconds, and the instance is successfully launched. So let's go back to instances. Now back to instances, we can refresh this, and now we have our demo instance that is currently pending. So in just a few seconds, it's going to be up and running. So we can keep refreshing for it to come up. Also, if you want to check the different types of instance type that you can be able to have, you can just go over to instance types. Let's give it a few minutes. Yes, let's go down. You can see you have lots and lots of instance types. You have 737 EC2 instance types. So AWS keeps on creating new different types of instance types, just as the various generations of the various computes are changing. So you have 737 EC2 instance types, and you can see, and they all fall under different families. Like we said, you have families that are for compute optimized instances, you have general purpose instances, and so on. So depending on the type of workload that you want to use, then you're going to decide what type of family that you want to use. But the basic thing is that all these instance types are just based on memory, CPU, and storage configurations. So if you also want to go ahead and check the various types of AMIs that are available, you can go down under AMIs, you can go down to AMI catalog, And under AMI catalog, you can see the various AMIs that are available in AWS. You have the Amazon Linux AMIs, you have the Mac OS, you have Red Hat, you have Ubuntu, you have the Windows servers, and so on. So let's go back up to instances. And now our instance is up and running. So how can we be able to connect to our instance? So first, when you create an EC2 instance, you can be able to look at more detail about the particular virtual machine by simply selecting the virtual machine. Down under the details section, you're going to find the instance ID, which is the ID that uniquely identifies a particular virtual machine. You can find the public IP address, which is the public IP address of our virtual machine. You can find the private IP address of our virtual machine. Then you can get other information about this virtual machine. If you want to know the networking configuration, for example, you can come to the networking tab and you can see the VPC ID, you can see the subnet ID, and so on. If you want to get security configuration, which security group is using, you can come under security and you can see the security group ID and so on. So if you wanted to modify anything about the security group, you can just simply click on the security group ID and then you can go ahead and modify it exactly how you want. You can change the inbound roles, you can change the outbound roles, and so on. So for us, we are going to keep it as default because it already has SSH open, and SSH is the port that we are going to need to be able to connect to our virtual machine over SSH. So let's go back to EC2. And now what we want to do is to connect to our virtual machine over our terminal. So the easiest way to do this for a first-time user is to select the virtual machine, then click on connect. And then what you want to do is to click on SSH client. And then you want to copy the example SSH command down here. Then if you're using Windows, then you need now to go to your downloads folder. When you go to your downloads folder, you're going to see in your downloads folder, you're going to have the key pair that you downloaded inside. You're going to have your key pair. And then in Windows, you can use different types of, you can use Git bash, you can use your command prompt, you can use PowerShell to be able to do your SSH. The only thing that you need to do is to open your terminal. And when you open your terminal, you need to make sure that you're currently in the downloads folder where you have your key pair, right? So for me, I'm going to do what we call cd change my directory into a downloads folder in Mac. And inside here, let's make this bigger. So inside here, I can now paste the SSH command and then enter. And then it's going to ask me, are you sure you want to continue connecting? I just type yes, I want to continue connecting. And it's going to tell me warning unprotected private key. For me, it's okay because I'm on a Linux terminal, so I need to just simply make the private key. I need to make it private. I need to reduce the permission set. So I can do that by doing chmod 400 on demo 1.pem. And then after that, I can now recall the SSH command. If you're using Windows, then you will not need to do anything like chmod anything. For Windows, you just simply need to go to your downloads folder and open command prompt in that particular location, and then you paste your SSH command, and then you should be good to go. So you can see now we are inside the virtual machine. You can see Ubuntu at the private IP address of the virtual machine. So this is how to create an EC2 instance and how you can be able to connect to an EC2 instance. And that is it for today. And I'll see you in the next lecture where we'll look at what exactly is an EBS volume and the different offerings of AWS EBS volumes. Ciao, I'll see you in the next one. And if you did like this tutorial, please go ahead and like the video and also subscribe to our channel so you can always get notified anytime we release a new video. Bye.